All right, today we are diving deep into one of the most talked about, most explosive AI infrastructure stocks out there. You've probably seen the ticker flying around if you follow this space at all, AAOI. And let's just start with the headline number because, wow, year to date, this thing has shot up over 300%. Now, when you see a move that huge, that fast, it forces you to ask a really important question. Right? Is this your chance to get in on the ground floor of a future AI giant? Or has the train already rocketed out of the station, leaving anyone who jumps on now with all of the risk? That's exactly what we're going to unpack today. So here's how we'll do it. First, we'll tackle that crazy rise. Then, we're going to look under the hood at what this company actually does. From there, we'll explore the argument for even more growth. But then, we have to cover the risks, the stuff a lot of people miss. And finally, we'll get to the big question you need to ask yourself. Okay, so let's dig into this incredible surge. Look, this isn't just another company that slapped AI onto its name for some cheap hype. No, AAOI is way more fundamental. They're part of the plumbing, the actual physical hardware that makes this whole AI revolution even possible. So what is that plumbing? What does AAOI really make? Let's push past the complicated jargon for a minute and get to the core technology that's getting everyone so excited.
At its heart, AAOI is all about something called optical networking. The simplest way to think about it is this. They make the little components that use light to move insane amounts of data at, well, the speed of light. This stuff is the absolute backbone of the data centers and cloud services that run our modern world.
And this is the perfect analogy. You know, when an AI model is thinking, it's shuffling just unimaginable amounts of information between thousands of servers. AAOI is literally building the ultra-fast, super wide freeways that all that data travels on. Without it, you just get a massive traffic jam.
Now, here's where it gets really interesting, and what sets them apart. It's this concept of vertical integration. Unlike so many of their competitors who outsource everything, AAOI does it all. They design it, they make the components, they assemble the final product. In a world where supply chains are a total mess and everyone's scrambling for parts, being able to control your own destiny, well, it's kind of like having a superpower. It means you can move faster and deliver when others just can't.
So let's connect this to that 300% gain. This is the bull case. What are the big reasons the market is so incredibly optimistic about what's coming next? It really comes down to three huge things. First, the AI boom is for real. The cloud giants are spending billions and billions on their data centers, creating demand we've never seen before. Second, that demand is just crushing supply. We're talking shortages. And third, Wall Street has totally changed its mind about this company. It's not seen as some boring old tech anymore. It's now seen as an essential AI infrastructure play. And this isn't just a story. It's happening right now. The company is landing massive orders, hundreds of millions of dollars at a time. And these aren't for old stuff. These are for their brand new cutting-edge products, these 800 gigabit and 1.6 terabit modules. Think of these as the widest, fastest 10-lane superhighways for data. The big cloud companies are desperate for them to power their AI dreams. And when you look forward, the expectations are just staggering. Analysts are calling for more than 80% revenue growth next year, and they might even hit $1 billion in revenue the year after that. The market is pricing in absolute perfection. But, and this is a huge but, for all of the incredible growth, for all the demand, the bottom line is still in the red. The company is not yet profitable. And that single fact is the perfect transition to the other side of this coin. So let's talk about the risks, because they are very real and very significant. This is the part of the story that, when everyone's excited and the stock is flying, they tend to just gloss over. Okay, let's break these down. First, it's losing money. That means any hiccup in growth could be really painful for the stock. Second, they rely on a very small number of gigantic customers. If they lose just one of them, it's a huge problem. Third, after a 300% run, the valuation has perfection baked in. There is zero room for error. Fourth, this is tech. A competitor could come out with something better and change the whole game. And finally, you gotta remember, what goes up this fast can come down just as fast. The volatility here is absolutely extreme. And you're starting to hear this warning a lot more on Wall Street. The big fear is that the stock price has just completely disconnected from the company's actual performance and is now just floating on pure hope and hype.
Okay, this all leads us to the final and, honestly, the most important part. We've got the bull case, we've got the bear case. So how do you take all this and figure out what it means for you? Let's just be crystal clear about this. This stock is really only for a specific type of person, someone who is laser focused on growth, who has a very high tolerance for risk, and I mean real risk, and who's planning to be in it for the long haul, like 3 to 5 years minimum. This is definitely not for someone who wants safety, who needs to see consistent profits now, or who's just trying to make a quick buck.
When you get right down to it, that's what this is. This is not a safe, boring investment. It is a high-stakes, all-or-nothing bet on the future of the entire AI industry and on this one company's ability to be a major winner in that race. So the question you really have to ask yourself is this: is what we're seeing the future unfolding right in front of us, or is it a valuation fantasy that has just gone way too far? Your answer to that single question changes everything.